Diego against anti-immigration policies. I'm Alex Cheney, live at the protest happening right now.
During recent ICE protests, we've seen some drivers doing donuts and burnouts near crowds of people. Now police are cracking down. They've impounded vehicles, and some drivers are facing criminal charges.
Keeping affordable housing affordable. I'll explain what the San Diego City Council just did to make that happen.
Take an escape from your busy life by coming here to the San Elijo Lagoon. The work involved in protecting this in this Earth 8 report.
During the injustice of internment camps, George met Jane and found an 80-year love affair.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now.
As we come on the air tonight, traffic is once again flowing on both sides of Interstate 5 near Chicano Park after demonstrators who were protesting against mass deportation efforts walked onto the freeway and forced police to stop traffic. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
And I'm Steve Price, in tonight for Carlo Cicchetto. That demonstration comes as some businesses across the country actually closed today to show the impact of immigrant labor here in the U.S. economy. From here in San Diego to L.A. and Oakland, demonstrations happen all over the state. It's part of a social media campaign that urged immigrants to stay home from work and school today and to avoid spending any money. No shopping.
CBS 8's Alex Cheney joins us live from Chicano Park tonight, where demonstrators are now gathered after their brief scare there on the freeway, coming kind of close to vehicles. Alex, what's the mood like tonight?
Yeah, Marcella and Steve, that protest is actually still happening right now. This is Chicano Park. This is over by the Coronado Bay Bridge. You got a very large group of people right now. They got lots of flags, they're blaring music, and they're using some slogans to appreciate immigration policies, the ones that they want to see for their people out there in Mexico. Let's go to now some video that we have from Chopper 8. So as we told you, part of Interstate 5 actually was shut down earlier this evening. We heard from the San Diego Police Department at about 4:30 today that there were some people that have made their way out onto the freeway, and it did shut down the freeway in parts for some time today. And now that group has now made it over here to Chicano Park, and it is a very inspired and strong crowd right now out here. We got some people who are standing out here. They've been here for at least the last hour or so. This is right at the junction with the Coronado Bridge. I don't think there's any people actually standing on the freeway right now, but they are here. They got cars coming by. People are honking, they're yelling. They are all in agreement with these people standing out here on the side of the road. Once again, this is Chicano Park over near the pickup to the Coronado Bay Bridge. Easily people stretched out across this entire block here. It's a bit of a festival atmosphere right now, as everybody is really working together right now to have their voices heard during this very important time for them. This all comes during a day without immigrants. This was a day where several businesses were shutting down across the San Diego area to show the impact of what immigrants have on local businesses. One was even vandalized earlier today. So this is all against the backdrop of what they are protesting, anti-immigration policies that they say were enacted by the Trump administration that they do not agree with. Mass deportations, ICE, and a lot of things that they are just not happy about. They're having their voices heard right now. A lot of cars have been backfiring, blasting music. There's lots of Mexican flags in the air, and just about every car driving by right now is honking and really agreeing with all the folks out here. So of course this is a constantly changing situation. They did walk on to Interstate 5 earlier. The backup was at least for a few blocks behind this area, which is Chicano Park. So if you're going by this area at all later on this evening, you might want to find a different way around it, because cars are still moving, but this is quite an event happening, this protest on the side of the road here. Marcella, Steve?
Definitely a very fluid situation out there, Alex. Thank you. And here's one of the concerns, what you see here at recent protests around the county. Some drivers were seen doing donuts and burnouts in the street near huge crowds of people. And that's prompting a lot of safety concerns.
Getting a little bit too close. As CBS 8's Brian White shows us, police are now cracking down on those drivers.
This car spinning its tires and doing burnouts near a demonstration in Escondido Sunday evening, something police say is dangerous.
A vehicle spinning its tires and driving recklessly, loses control, hits the crowd, and you're talking about serious injuries.
Friday in National City at another protest against ICE and deportation policies, our Chopper 8 saw more drivers doing the same thing, spinning tires and doing burnouts on Highland Avenue. And you can see here motorcycles doing donuts in the intersection. National City Police tell me they're working to identify some of these reckless drivers who could face misdemeanor charges and have their cars impounded.
Those are the activities that make it dangerous for everybody that's attending the protests. I mean, obviously we want to encourage people to come out and express their First Amendment rights, but we needed them to do it safely. Captain Eric Whithold with Escondido Police told me they dealt with this same issue last Wednesday near a demonstration on the corner of Escondido Boulevard and Washington Street. When the evening hours hit, you had vehicles doing burnouts, you had people blocking an intersection and doing burnouts in a circular motion throughout the intersection. In total, police seized a dozen cars from that night for reckless driving. No arrests were made, but some of those drivers may be facing felony vandalism charges for damaging the roadway. The cars are on a 30-day impound, and the car owners will be on the hook to pay any towing and impound fees. While there were no injuries that evening, the potential for injury or death was there. Like I said, an out-of-control vehicle is a 6,000-pound object, and if it impacts a pedestrian, you're talking about serious injuries, and if it impacts a group of pedestrians, that's even worse. Captain Whithold tells me they're still working to identify more reckless drivers from last Wednesday's event in Escondido. Brian White, CBS 8.
Thanks, Brian. Jury selection is expected to start tomorrow in a civil trial against MTS. The agency is accused of bearing responsibility for the 2017 parkour gym collapse that injured about 30 children. MTS owns the property where that platform collapsed. Security footage you see here shows the collapse happen. This happened in 2017. A jury must now decide if MTS should be held responsible. MTS argues they have no responsibility for what happened because they leased out the space to San Diego Sports Entertainment Center, which then leased it out to another company.
The Trump administration is pausing tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada, but if they eventually go through next month, it could affect prices for things like fruits, vegetables, and other goods from Mexico. It could also impact meat prices. Canada is the #1 foreign supplier of beef and poultry to the U.S. While a pause on tariffs for those goods is some relief for importers, supply chain experts say the tariff on Chinese goods could impact almost every U.S. industry.
Import a lot of base ingredients from China that's used in a lot of various industries. So you're talking pharmaceutical, you're talking the toy industry, you're talking electronics. So almost every industry in the United States would be impacted.
Analysts say a tariff could also lead to higher prices at the pump because the U.S. imports oil from Canada. Today, the San Diego City Council unanimously approved an affordable housing preservation ordinance. Now, this aims to ensure people of all incomes can afford to live here by keeping affordable housing units affordable. CBS 8's Jenny Day has more from outside City Council chambers.
For any new construction or existing buildings that are designated affordable housing, there's wording in the deed that says it has to remain affordable for X amount of time, whatever the city and the developer agreed to. Well, now this new ordinance aims to extend that, preserving affordable housing even if that property is sold.
The affordable homes that exist today remain affordable. And
the Affordable Housing Preservation Ordinance now official.
Building isn't enough. If we don't preserve what we have, we will lose ground.
There are approximately 26,000 affordable housing units in the city that fall between very low income to moderate income, meaning tenants make anywhere from 30 to 80% below the area median income. The San Diego Housing Commission says prior to this passing, we were on track to lose 200 homes a year that fall within those guidelines.
Many are left with no place to go and are essentially forced into homelessness or are forced to move out of the city.
The ordinance now requires owners of affordable housing units to give 3 months notice to government and affordable housing entities if they have plans to sell. Before, there was no time frame, allowing buyers to swoop in and raise rent.
In 2000, 3 out of 4 rentals in San Diego were affordable to the average family. But now only 25% of the rental multifamily housing market is affordable.
City leaders say we're losing affordable homes at a faster rate than we're building them.
The construction of homes is not keeping up with the need. The lack of affordable housing is on display every single day.
The ordinance also gives priority to buyers with affordable housing intentions. They have the option to match or outbid another buyer so that the building at least has the opportunity to stay affordable.
It will prevent deed-restricted affordable homes from being redeveloped into market rate or luxury homes.
City leaders say the cost of housing presents a financial challenge for too many families, and this will keep people in areas they may otherwise be priced out of. There were no speakers at today's meeting in opposition. For CBS 8, I'm Jenny Day.
Thanks, Jenny. State Farm Insurance is seeking an emergency rate hike in California following the devastating Los Angeles wildfires last month. The company wants an immediate increase averaging 22% in homeowners insurance premiums after paying out more than $1 billion in claims. State Farm says it is critical to rebuild capital and prevent potential downgrades that could affect mortgaged homeowners here in California. So now the California Department of Insurance has to investigate this request, citing concerns about State Farm's financial stability.
A caregiver pleads for help after a patient's medical transportation insurance coverage was suddenly canceled.
We'll have those details coming up, plus the beachside opening nearly a month after the devastating Palisades fire broke out.
And San Diego students mark the start of Black History Month.
Onshore flow is going to pick up for this week, so that brings in a slight chance that we could see some showers, at least by tomorrow. Better chance by Friday, but it's going to be cool and breezy this week. We get to those details after the break.